Carowinds opened in 1973, a project from Charlotte businessman Earl Patterson Hall, a theme park that would be built half in North Carolina, half in South Carolina, and it would serve the purpose of bringing the Carolinas together. He sold the park to Taft Broadcasting in 1975, the company that was building their own theme park empire with Kings Island and Kings Dominion, and from that point, their histories were linked. From Taft, to the Kings Entertainment Company, to Paramount, to Cedar Fair, and now to Six Flags. This park has had its ups and downs, but over the past 15 years, it's put most other parks to shame, getting massive investments and becoming one of the country's top thrill destinations. But that doesn't mean it can't be better. Today, let's steal the keys to the Six Flags vault and spend some of the money that we gave them. This is one way to improve every coaster at Carowinds. First, I want to thank my Patreons and my new member, Tung Sahur. If you want bonus access, bonus content, behind the scenes videos, a shout out when you join, and your name on this fancy Patreon screen, follow the link below and join. Some coasters have easy fixes, some are more challenging, and some are downright ridiculous. So I'm giving each one a possibility grade. We'll go from easy, it can be done today with no effort, to medium, would take some effort and money, to hard, would take a pretty significant effort, to fantasy, things that are just not realistic. Let's enter the park, walk straight ahead, and see where Nighthawk used to be. This is gone, but after spending 20 years at the park, I gotta give it some love. Even though, across all the times I went to Carowinds, I only rode this once. It was always closed, or the line was just crazy because of the slow ops, but that's not what I want to change about it. People seem to flame this one more than the other Flying Dutchman, mainly because of its roughness, and I think that was worse in the final corkscrews. I would remove those corkscrews and replace them with inline twists, the way Vekoma did with their last two models, X-Flight and Batwing. These are much better, much smoother elements, and could have helped save the ride's reputation a little bit. I call this a hard change, borderline fantasy, but since I'm just asking for a reprofile for this one section, it doesn't seem impossible. Right across the path, we find Thunderstriker, the B&M Hyper. For the first 13 years of its life, it was called Intimidator, and that led to the very appropriate nickname, Intimidator. This has a very basic L-shaped airtime-filled layout, but some of those airtime hills would slam into some harsh trims, and just made the ride sluggish. You still got some good airtime in the back, but it could have been so much better, and I'm not even talking about from a spoiled enthusiast standpoint, wanting the train to rip its wheels off on every hill. It seems like it barely makes it over some of those hills. My solution is to turn the trims off, or maybe we can negotiate to turn the trims down. Maintenance may not like me turning them off, but regardless, this is an easy change. It can be done right now. Across the path, there's a coaster a little more family-friendly, the Vekoma Hang and Bang, known as Kitty Hawk. There have been rumors about this leaving the park soon. Being over 20 years old now, it did get that great re-theme, but that was almost 10 years ago now, so it can't rest on that anymore. There are a bunch of these Hang and Bangs out there, but it seems like a lot of them have modified trains, or modified restraints. No such luck for Kitty Hawk. These are the same old trains that play pinball with your head, so my solution is to get new trains, and not even the modified ones like on Woodstock Air Rail at Kings Island. Those aren't bad, but I'm saying take this all the way and get lap bars. All their new, more extreme family suspended coasters have lap bars. Why can't these also? This is a medium change. It would cost money. They would need to buy them from Vekoma, but Vekoma already makes these, so it seems like it would work. Walking past Harmony Hall and into Camp Snoopy, we find the park's newest coaster, Snoopy's Racing Railway. I haven't ridden this yet, but I have ridden the same coaster at Canada's Wonderland. Even though it wasn't made for Canada's Wonderland, the original is actually at Fantasiana. It seems to fit that plot of land like a glove. The Carowinds plot is pretty much flat. It has some in-ride theming, but they could have dressed up that footprint a little better and made it more immersive. That's not to say this area looks bad. They did a pretty good job, and this is just a nitpick. I'm just saying it could be even better if they added more. This is a medium change. It wouldn't take much of an effort, but it would cost some money. Going deeper into Camp Snoopy, we find Snoopy's best friend, Woodstock Express, the PTC wooden coaster for kids. Celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, all of these small wooden coasters are great and give the kids something to ride that's not small and boring. It's no wonder these are all still standing and going strong. Last time I rode it, it did have a little jank, but it's still running pretty smooth. One great thing this has is the buzz bar. It doesn't touch your lap, so there's no way you're getting smashed. That being said, I think maybe they could get some modern trains. I would love it if they could keep the buzz bars, but it's not going to happen. But given this doesn't really have any actual airtime, it's not a big loss. I'd sacrifice the buzz bar for a more comfortable seat. Make it easier for adults to ride with their kids. Give us more legroom. I know this wasn't designed for us big people. I'm not completely unself-aware. And again, this is a nitpick, so take it for what it is. It's a medium change. They would have to buy 1 or 2 new trains, and it probably wouldn't be hard to find a company to make them. Right across the path is the park's smallest coaster, the E&F Miler Wilderness Run. These kids coasters have some bite to them, especially that Airtime Hill finale while turning into the station. That's kinda crazy for a 2-year-old. This is the smallest ride in the park and it is in Camp Snoopy, so that Wilderness Run theme makes sense. That being said, they could do better with the theme. It's set in a field of grass. It's got a couple trees in the plot, but they could plant more, add some Snoopy theming, maybe a tunnel. They aren't going to want to put a lot of money into a ride made for preschoolers, but there isn't much they can do to make it that much better. So I'm calling back on my default answer once again. Just add more theming. The kids might like it. Kids love tunnels. They love yelling in them. It's like puddles. I don't get it, but kids go crazy for them. Once again, medium change. Just gotta spend the money and make it happen. Getting out of the kids area, we head for the back of the park and the crossroads section to find Afterburn, a premier B&M invert. This is and has always been one of the country's best, known for its intensity, especially on that batwing that dips underground. It's got the size, 113 feet, speed, 62 miles an hour, and 6 inversions. But if this ride could do something better, I would say it needs one more element. It is a bit of a short ride, under 3,000 feet of track. These B&M inverts have up to 7 inversions, and at 6, Afterburn opens a door for one more. I say, after that last corkscrew, dive down and give it a nice upward helix, followed by one more inline twist into the brakes. It adds more intensity, it adds to the ride time, it gives it that 7th inversion, and it would make the ride better. This is a fantasy. No way they add on to this 26-year-old invert when literally nobody is asking for it. Heading down the hill and into Blue Ridge Junction, there's the park's newest thrill coaster, Copperhead Strike. This is exactly what the park needed. It didn't have a launch coaster. They didn't have a modern sit-down looper, their last 2 coasters being big airtime machines. This rounded out the Carowinds lineup. Despite fitting the park like a glove, the ride itself is kinda hit or miss. The launches aren't very powerful, but not much you can do without reprofiling literally everything. Plus, that adds to the hang time, which is very good on this ride, and it also provides some good ejector airtime. The lap bars aren't very good, they staple you pretty hard, but I'm just happy it has lap bars and not shoulder restraints. On my last ride, there was one flaw that really stood out. The second half is kinda boring. After that final loop, it goes into a bunch of twists and turns, and you might think, oh cool, it's snappy like Maverick, but it's not. It was just filler track getting back to the station. I would reprofile the second half, give it some sharp airtime, give it a heartline roll, maybe an outer bank, anything with those drawn out bank turns. It just makes the ride end with a whimper, and that's a shame because it really does have a strong first half. This is a fantasy. Again, nobody's asking for it and it's never gonna happen. Heading toward County Fair, we run into Flying Cobras, the relocated Vekoma boomerang. The easy solution for most boomerangs is to get a new Vekoma train, the one with vests. They eliminate all the headbanging, but Carowinds had the foresight to have this done as soon as the coaster moved here from Jaga Lake. So, good train, great theme, the colors look great. What do we do to make this Vekoma boomerang better? I say capitalize on that theme. It's got this circus theme. You got snakes. I say put tunnels on both spikes and have some kind of snake theme in there. It could be something like Incredicoaster does with its tunnels. Maybe it uses screens or physical theming. I think this would genuinely be cool, and we've seen it happen before. Speed of Sound at Wallaby Holland. This is a medium change, and the cost really depends on how elaborate they want to make it. Walking toward the Carolina Boardwalk, there's the park's oldest coaster, Carolina Gold Rusher, an Arrow mine train. It can be easy to overlook this coaster in a park as stacked as Carowinds. It is a decent mine train, it does a great job riding against terrain, and there isn't much you can do to make it better. One thing does stand out though, fully enclose that open tunnel and add Gold Rush theming. I don't really see the point for this partially enclosed ravine. It rides under the ground level, so it seems like they could close it off, make it dark and fill it with Gold Rush artifacts, lighting, projections, anything to enhance its theming. And they're already halfway there. They put some slats on top for some reason. Just take it all the way. This is a medium change. It seems like a totally doable upgrade. Across the path, we find the world's first 4-inversion coaster, Carolina Cyclone. At the time, it was groundbreaking, but now it's pretty basic. You have 2 loops, 2 corkscrews, and a helix. 45 years after opening, the park has decided to keep it. They repainted it, but they haven't done anything to make it better. Here's one idea. Run the trains backwards. I just rode Pink Typhoon at Washington Highland in Japan, and that had a backwards sit-down train, and that was super jarring. This could add a thrill factor back to Carolina Cyclone and give it new life. This is an easy change, just flip the train around. Maybe it's not as easy as that, but still, it can be done quickly. Right across the path is one of Paramount's cookie cutter editions, the Mock Wild Mouse Ricochet. This is the regular version, meaning it doesn't have that big drop to start, so it's all about the tight turns and sharp drops. Sometimes these Wild Mouse coasters hurt their ride experience by slowing the train down so you don't get the full effect, so I say just turn the trim brakes off. I'm sure it's more complicated from a maintenance standpoint. The trims help keep the trains and the track in good shape, but I'm not worried about that right now, and to make the ride better right now, this would be an easy change just to shut them down and let that train rip as fast as it can go. Heading down into the thrill zone, we have the park's only wooden coaster, Hurler. Built in 1994 as part of the new Wayne's World area, this coaster just has a terrible layout, and as time goes on, it keeps getting rougher. Shallow drops, drawn out turns. It's one of the worst coasters left standing in America, and there's only one way to make it better. RMC it. Tear out all the wood track and let RMC give this the Iron Horse treatment. A whole new layout, thrilling, smooth. Suddenly, this is rivaling its neighbor as the best ride in the park. This is a hard change. We're talking about a 7-figure project, but unlike some of these changes that make the ride marginally better, this would actually draw tons of people into the park to give RMC Hurler a ride. King's Dominion got this done. Now it's Carowinds' turn. In the same plaza, we have the park's main event, the B&M Giga Fury 325. I've said before, this has one of the great layouts of any coaster in the world. For my money, it's top 2 in the country, and it's my number 2 overall coaster. So tall, so long, a perfect mix of elements, and those trains are awesome. Your classic 4 across B&M clamshell recliners. That being said, there is one thing I don't love about this layout, and that's the final helix. This is a dead part of the ride, and it's extremely pointless. It seems like, up to this point, every element pops, and this one's dead. I'd say reprofile it, but that would be a fantasy. However, if you just remove it entirely, and made it so the first airtime hill dives right into the second airtime hill, that would just be a hard change. Fury can't afford to lose some of that 6,600 feet of track, and this way, it's a party from start to finish. Heading up into Carousel Park, we have the final coaster on our route, the B&M stand-up Vortex. While Fury is seen as possibly the best B&M, Vortex is on the other end of that spectrum, dating back to 1992, offering just 2 inversions over 2,000 feet of track. And yeah, it's outdated and probably should leave to make room for a newer ride. If they want to keep it, fine. I say, just make it more comfortable. Give it floorless trains. 3 former stand-up coasters have gotten this conversion, and after riding a similar sized coaster at California's Great America, Patriot, I was very impressed. It was a solid ride, a ride a smaller park would love to have. Ideally, this would move to another park like Michigan's Adventure and get this conversion, but it would do Carowinds some good also. This is a medium change. Obviously, it's not unprecedented. It would probably just involve the cost of 2 new trains, and if it's anything like the others, a repaint and a retheme. Okay, I'm done spending Six Flags money for now, and all of Carowinds' coasters are a little bit better. Here's how the 15 coasters break down. Only 2 are fantasy. That involved adding elements to Afterburn and Copperhead Strike. 3 are hard. These are small-scale reprofiles in the RMC conversion of Hurler. 7 are medium. This is mainly getting new trains or adding theming elements. And 3 are easy. This is turning off brakes or flipping trains to run backwards. If you have any other ideas for making Carowinds coasters better, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, and if you're new here and love coasters, please give me a sub. If you want to see more episodes in this series, I have a playlist, that link's down below. Also, check out my second channel, where I post copyright-free off-ride footage. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.